Welcome to the Vocational Rehabilitation Program. Hello, my name is Gracie Mendoza. The purpose of this video is to provide an orientation to vocational rehabilitation, often called VR. I'll be referring to the program as VR during the video. This is a short video. If you need to get up and move around while you're watching the video, please feel free to do so. Afterwards, a VR staff member will schedule an appointment for you to meet with a counselor on a future date. Vocational Rehabilitation is a program in the Oregon Department of Human Services. The mission of VR is to assist Oregonians with disabilities to achieve and maintain employment and independence. There are 3 important things to know about VR. Any physical, mental, or emotional conditions that make it hard for a person to do a job or get a job may qualify that person for VR services. You can be employed and still be eligible for VR services. VR is a voluntary program. No one can require you to participate. It's your choice. Some examples of disabilities that could qualify you for VR services are learning disabilities, the loss of hearing or vision, back injuries, orthopedic problems, or mental illness or traumatic brain injury, to name just a few. VR provides services that include evaluation to determine job skills and interest, vocational counseling and help in setting a job goal, assistance with training or education if needed to obtain a job, help with job interview skills, special equipment or technology that may help you keep a job, assistance with getting to training or job sites and other work-related needs. VR does not provide emergency services such as rent, housing, food, or medical attention, help with car repairs, long-term medical management or medical supplies, or Social Security benefit application assistance. While VR does not provide these services, we can give you referrals to other programs that may help you. VR has a successful track record in helping people with disabilities find or retain employment, but we understand it is not the fit for everyone. If at any point during this video you feel that VR is not the right program for you, feel free to leave. You can always come back in the future if your needs change. Paper and pens have been provided for you to take notes during the video. I encourage you to write down any questions you might have and take them with you to your appointment with your VR counselor. Now that you know more about the Vocational Rehabilitation Program, let's walk through the steps in the VR process so you know what to expect.
Step 1. Getting ready for your first appointment. Before you leave today, an appointment will be scheduled for you to meet with a VR counselor. There are a few steps you will need to take between now and your first appointment. The first step is to complete the service questionnaire to the best of your ability prior to your first appointment. The questionnaire provides information your counselor needs to establish you as a client. The second step is to gather record to bring to your appointment. It is very important that you bring 2 forms of identification, one that shows who you are and one that proves that you are authorized to work in the U.S. A list of the types of documentation we can accept has been provided to you. You also can bring copies of medical or psychological records if you have them. If you don't, please do not request them. VR will request all records needed to determine your eligibility to make sure VR has the information it needs and so you don't have to pay a records request fee. We ask that visitors to our office do not wear perfume, cologne, aftershave, or other scented products to be sensitive to those with allergies. Step 2. Attend your first appointment.
When you've completed your questionnaire and have gathered your documents, you're ready for your first appointment with a VR counselor. It is very important that you have the two forms of identification with you at your first appointment. At your first appointment, your counselor will go over the service questionnaire with you and ask questions. You can expect to be asked specific questions regarding your disability, work history, and medical history. You will be asked to sign releases to obtain documentation to verify your disability and how it affects your ability to work. If there is anyone you would like to bring with you to your first appointment, feel free to do so. If you are currently receiving Social Security disability, you are presumed eligible for VR services. Your counselor will still need to obtain medical documentation in order to finalize your eligibility for VR services. Also, if you are receiving these benefits, you are part of the SSA Ticket to Work program, and you will be officially using your ticket when you sign an employment plan with VR. If you have any questions regarding your ticket status, you can contact the ticket administrator. During your appointment, your counselor will ask you to share information about your disabilities and past work experience. Your counselor will want to learn if you have experienced issues in the workplace and whether it has been difficult for you to perform job duties or keep a job. Your counselor will talk to you about whether you are ready to work. Working can be a big change in your life, and your counselor will talk to you about whether or not now is the right time for you. Your counselor will need to know if you are released to work or if you have ongoing medical appointments, upcoming surgeries, or procedures. It is important that you be available to attend all scheduled appointments with your counselor and be available and able to work when an employer is ready to hire you. Once you have talked with your counselor, they will ask you if you would like to apply for services and go over the application for services with you. Your counselor may also refer you to workshops or classes to help you prepare for employment. If you are currently receiving Social Security benefits, Medicare, Medicaid, SNAP, or any other public benefits, VR can connect you with a benefits counselor who can provide you information about maintaining needed benefits and how special work rules can support your employment.
Step 3. Vocational Rehabilitation determines your eligibility for services.
The information you provided during your appointment helps your VR counselor decide whether you are eligible for the program as part of what's called an eligibility determination process. The VR counselor must identify what about your disability makes it difficult for you to work. The counselor takes a careful look at your complete work history to identify your skills and abilities. The counselor also looks at your diagnosed disability and the limitations it causes that may affect your ability to get and keep a job. If your medical records do not exist, are not complete, or are out of date, your counselor may ask you to attend appointments for medical, psychological, and/or other evaluations to get information needed to determine your eligibility. VR will pay for any appointments that we ask you to attend. In most cases, your eligibility will be determined in 60 days. You will be notified by mail. If you're eligible for VR services, your letter will have a date for you to meet with your counselor and get started on your employment plan. If you do not qualify for VR services and you have questions or disagree with the eligibility decision, you can contact your counselor, their manager, or the Client Assistant Program for help.
Step 4. Completing your comprehensive assessment. People who are eligible for VR services get started by completing a comprehensive assessment. Completing an assessment is a team effort between you and your counselor, with the purpose of creating a vocational goal that will ultimately result in you having gainful employment. As you and your counselor work through the assessment, you will look at your strengths, resources, priorities, concerns, abilities, capacities, aptitudes, and interests. You will take this wide variety of information into account to create your vocational goal and a plan to achieve it. Step 5. Creating your individualized plan for employment.
Your comprehensive assessment will be used to create your individualized plan for employment. VR creates unique plans customized for each person using its services. The individualized plan for employment is a written agreement between you and your VR counselor. Working together, you will choose an employment goal that reflects your interests, aptitudes, concerns, unique strengths, resources, and priorities. This written agreement documents the services necessary to overcome the things that keep you from being successfully employed. The plan includes potential job opportunities in your selected field, the reasons why you selected your particular employment goal, what services VR will provide, and the start and ending dates for those services, what you can expect from VR, and what your counselor will expect from you. Your plan is written with your counselor as a team, and it's important that you participate in this process to the best of your ability, so that the end result is a plan that will lead to successful employment.
Step 6. Planning your exit from the program after employment. When you get the job you identify in your individualized plan for employment, make sure your VR counselor is among the first to know. You will remain a VR client for 90 days, and your counselor will want to talk with you about how work is going before you exit the program and your case is closed. There are other reasons a VR case may be closed. A case may be closed when a person is no longer eligible for services, or when VR can't contact you or you do not show up for your appointment. You also can ask us to close your case at any time. If your case is closed for any reason, you can always come back and apply for services in the future. Step 7. Be informed about services available to you after exiting the program.
As I mentioned at the start of the video, VR assists Oregonians with disabilities to achieve employment and independence. VR also strives to help people with disabilities maintain employment. Even though your VR case will close after at least 90 days of successful employment, VR can still be a resource for you. If you start to struggle on the job at any time because of your disability, you can contact your VR counselor for help. VR counselors can help you through supervisor or job duty changes or a job loss. When you contact your VR counselor, he or she may reopen your case and help you resolve the issues or assist you in becoming reemployed.
I think it's really important to encourage ourselves to be self-motivated. If, for example, I think I'm just going to let VR know that I need help, and VR is just going to provide me a job, then that's a misunderstanding. VR and I actually will work closely together as a team. Now, VR, they may offer me some counseling advice and how to encourage me to set up work goals or give me assistive technology devices, provide me with information of a variety of things. And what happens if I improve my technology, then my speaking ability and being able to present myself for a position will improve. So I think it's important that we remember that we work together as a team with VR. They don't do the work for us. during my job search, it's my responsibility to take care of job offers, etc. If I have a list of job openings, it's my responsibility to take a look at that. And then if I see something that I feel is good for me, then I would talk to VR about that position, and then they could recommend different services or support systems that would be able to help me in a position. So as far as a job, we could look at the technology that would be affiliated with that and say it's important, and that's why it's important for me to let VR know any concerns that I may have. And VR can take a look at that, and they know the options that are available. And what they'll try to do is take a look at my skills and the options that they have available and match me up with something that they feel is a good fit. It's important to ask a lot of questions. If there's something that I don't understand, VR can help with procedure and help me figure out how things go specifically in a certain company, and then I can improve my questioning skills. If I'm curious about what services VR have, then all I have to do is ask questions. The more questions I ask, the more they'll be able to support me. I think that there are, as far as the job search assistance, there's that part of the puzzle, but there's also assistive technology, which is extremely helpful. As far as the job search goes, with that part of the program, VR will provide a job developer. My job developer was fantastic and was very knowledgeable, knowing about the job search specifically, able to train me, help me with my resume, practicing interview techniques, etc. And jobs in general, jobs that are open, they would encourage me to actually apply. So they were very, very helpful. And if I were to go to an interview, I would just ask for a sign language interpreter, and they would encourage me to advocate for myself to provide one. So first I would let them know that I needed to have a sign language interpreter so that I could understand everything clearly. And then if there were anything that needed to be changed, I would make sure that through the interpreter that I understood the language and I'd feel more confident in my presentation. And I think that it helps me as a presenter and to show my abilities more clearly. I believe later when I found when I would find a job, they would shadow me or keep my progress in mind for 90 days, see if any new issues would arise, any changes or any further support that they could provide to help me be successful. The technology is very helpful. Now, for myself, I don't speak and I don't read lips in English. However, my job requires me to have quite a bit of communication. Now, before I had contact with VR, I was very, very worried about this aspect and how was I going to be able to communicate with my coworkers. And I was really worried about it. And of course, we could write back and forth, but that is a lengthy endeavor. And so I think with VR, they have provided or given me information on assistive technology that has been quite helpful. For example, I have a UB Duo, and with the UB Duo, I can sit together with someone else and we can actually type back and forth and communicate in the written word. Also, if you notice here on my screen, I have Sprint, and that's the IP relay. That's extremely helpful if I need to make telephone calls out. So VR informed me of these technology devices, assistive help. And with OCF and in working here, it's been similar. They've been fantastic. They're trying to provide full access for me and make sure I have all the tools that I need to be successful. So it's nice we can have inter-office communication through these devices. Also, they've provided, you'll notice here up on the ceiling, we have smoke and fire alarms that generally are audible, but mine are lights. And then another technology we have is that if we have discussions or group meetings, they're happy to bring in a sign language interpreter, which helps me to have full access and understanding of what's being discussed at the meeting. So that's just another way that VR has helped here at OCF.
I think they'll find out what your interests are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, and what you're interested in pursuing. I got help also through Clackamas County and supportive employment, but they already had an idea of my interests because I do artwork and different things, so they placed me in a theater where I basically ushered and was able to watch plays and whatnot. And then later, for a more hours and more income, I was placed at Home Depot and did very well with as a loader. And then I was kind of out in the elements. And then my third thing with Voc Rehab was working with Fred Myers. And each time they helped me with interview clothes, they've helped me practice for interviews. And I worked very closely with supportive employment and a lady named Rosa. And she was my job coach at times. And Emil, and before that, Francis at Voc Rehab. So I really had good people, and they let me know that I was really supportive in getting back into the workforce. My experience with VR Voc Rehab is they want you to be more actively involved in with people and socialization, and it's always great that they can place you in work and you can earn a paycheck, because that really goes a long ways. Yes, I would recommend Voc Rehab, and anybody that has difficulty finding work. They help you kind of work with the employer, and also supportive employment with my county, Clackamas Community College. I have a mental disability that sometimes slows me down a little bit, and it's great to have an understanding employer and also a good counselor that can help you overcome weaknesses.
There are VR offices around the state. Please schedule your first appointment with an office that will be in the best location for you. If you have questions or need assistance completing your service questionnaire, please speak with someone on your VR team. Thank you for watching our orientation video. We look forward to working with you.